Well, good evening, everybody. For those that were signed on a little bit earlier, because you saw my post about 8:15, thanks for your patience. A lot of stuff for us to put online this evening. Of course, it's California's 175th birthday, so there's a lot of celebration happening downtown, and we were carrying that on our Facebook and YouTube channel earlier. But now we're going to talk a little bit about the weather. So first up, of course, got some heavy thunderstorms in the coastal hills. The valley, it looked like rain all day long. It felt like fall. I don't know about you, I love that. Love seeing the clouds, love the cooler temperatures that come with it. We're getting a little taste for now. It is going to get warmer by the time we get to the weekend, so we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about how much rain we could see in the hills and whether or not we're calling this beneficial rain. Take you through Futurecast. We'll look ahead to the extended forecast. More and more people are asking me, are we going to see any more 100s? Of course, the farther into September we get, the greater the odds are that we won't. However, we are not going to stay in the 70s and low 80s for the duration of the fall season. No, it is going to get warmer next week, and I'll show you why coming up here in just a little bit. But let's get back to our flash flood warning. This was issued just before 7 o'clock this evening by the National Weather Service. The area in green, this is in the northwestern corner of Colusa County. So if you're familiar, Fout Springs is here. This is the East Park Reservoir. I know we have our gray shading on, so it's kind of hard to see. The town of Stonyford is kind of right on the eastern edge of this flash flood warning. So it is still raining in this area, not as heavily as it was earlier, but I can show you why the flash flood warning was issued. I picked up quite a bit of rain. Our radar, our software is indicating that this area has seen more than 1.9 inches of rainfall in the past few hours. Most of that falling between about 6 and 7 p.m., which is when they issued that flash flood warning. Fortunately, it is for a remote area, but for the folks that live in this area, if you are seeing flooding, if you see standing water on a road, your best bet is to not try to drive across that road. It is to turn around and find another route, because you never know what may be underneath all of that water. So that warning is scheduled to go until 10 o'clock this evening. All of that subject to changing conditions, of course, but let's zoom in a little bit closer. So this is the corner of Colusa County that was under that warning. Nice to see that it's subtle, but the rain is starting to let up, and the trend over the next hour or so is for that rain to continue to let up. So that warning should expire on time, no issue. Some heavier rain here into, what is that, eastern Mendocino County, northern Lake County. This is all in hilly spots. No active warnings there, but you can kind of see just the overall pattern, these showers popping up in the hilly spots because they're kind of terrain driven. They're not really moving all that much, and we are likely to see more of the same tomorrow. So before we get too far into this, I just want to show you a neat little nugget. Flash flood warning guidance. Those don't just come out at random. Forecasters at the Weather Service don't just wait until somebody reports flooding. No, we have actual data that their forecasters use that we can use as well, to kind of serve as a guideline for when flash flood warnings may be needed. So the page you're looking at now is the California Nevada River Forecast Center. When we talk about rising river levels in the winter and spring when big storms come through, this is a site that we often refer to. They have all the river gauges on here, but they also have a bunch of other tabs over here. One of the ones that I have pulled up is the flash flood guidance, and I have checked 1 hour. So what you're looking at is how much rain needs to fall within an hour in order for flash flooding to potentially be a problem. So the key is down here. Anything in yellow is between 1 and 2 inches of rain. So that's most of the valley, especially the west side of the valley. If you get more than 1 to 2 inches of rain per hour, flash flooding is a possibility that will trigger a flash flood warning. And you can see here, getting up to northwestern Yolo County, northwestern Colusa County, where we do have that flash flood warning now. Yep, that's well within that range of 1 to 2 inches per hour. And still raining, although the rain rates are starting to back off in northwestern Colusa County. So some good news there. Rest of the valley, or the valley I should say, It's been quiet all day. We had the clouds. Kind of cool to watch them all go by. It certainly looked like fall. Leave the radar up, see who's checking in. Bill is checking in on my Facebook page. Jack, Mary Beth, Robert. Thanks for joining in, guys. We have somebody checking in on the KCRA page saying we need some smell good air rain around here. I think you're referring to the smell of rain. Gosh, I love the smell of rain. Did you know it has a name? It's called petrichor. Yeah, that very distinct sound when rain wets ground that's been dry for a long, long time. It just releases, I don't think chemicals is the right word, but yeah, well, I guess it kind of releases chemicals into the air. Those chemicals trigger that nice, pleasant, fresh, and kind of earthy smell. Kyle is asking about Amador County. Is Amador County okay? If by okay you mean rain-free, yeah, Amador County is rain-free. And I think it's going to more or less stay that way, at least western Amador County. You go into eastern Amador County up on the Sierra Crest over the next couple of days, you'll run into a couple of thunderstorms. But Amador County, all quiet for tonight. So good news there, Kyle. Thanks for sharing your questions and your comments. If anything comes to mind for you, go ahead and post them. I'll stay signed in here, and I'll keep checking the comments for about another 20 minutes at the most. I do have something I need to go and check in on at 9 o'clock. Normally we do these around 8:15. We just pushed it back a little bit later tonight. So, kind of the look, the feel of fall. I don't know about you, but it felt a little bit humid in the valley this morning. It wasn't just you. That humidity, helpful when it comes to the fire risk. Tamps it down just a little bit, keeping the humidity up, but of course fuels are still dry. It's certainly still time to be careful because grasses, brush, they're going to stay dry until we get a few rounds of some good rain, and we're just not there yet for the valley. Looks like it could rain, but I don't think that's what we're going to see. So let's go back to Futurecast because we're tracking some thunderstorms this evening in the Coast Range. And we are going to see more tomorrow afternoon. In fact, they could be a little bit more widespread, a little bit longer lasting. So Futurecast, it's a model. It's not perfect. We use it as guidance to figure out where and when rain is likely. And I will say it does better with widespread rain. We call it synoptic rain. So when our atmospheric river type storms come through, or big winter storms, and it rains all day long, this model does pretty well with that. It struggles a little bit more with these pop-up showers and thunderstorms, but I think it's got the right idea. It is showing that the showers tomorrow, this is 1:30 in the afternoon, will be confined once again to the hills of Lake County, western Colusa County, western Glenn County, those hillier spots there, up into Trinity County, parts of Humboldt County, western Siskiyou County, the hill country. So we'll be watching these areas carefully because notice for several hours, those showers and storms are going to kind of sit over Lake County once again. We'll keep an eye on Colusa County too. Overnight is going to be dry, so that's going to give today's rain time to run off, time to settle down, and it's all just going to depend on where the downpour is set up tomorrow, whether or not we see any potential flooding issues. But I think the takeaway here, yes, we're talking about flooding. We're going to talk about that flash flood warning 10-11 on our newscast. We're going to talk about more thunderstorms tomorrow. The potential for any issues is very isolated, right? It's going to be in the hilly areas. If you're in the valley, if you're in the foothills, even if you're in the Sierra watching this, maybe you saw our flash flood warning scrolling across your screen. Yeah, tomorrow's not going to be a day to worry about rain. The Sierra Crest will see some showers and thunderstorms pop up on Wednesday and probably Thursday too. Notice Thursday's going to be a quieter day for Lake County, Clear Lake area, Ukiah, western Colusa and Glenn County. A quieter day, but we will still see a few pop-up showers. So where's all this coming from? It's coming from this area of low pressure that's sitting off the coast. And you can kind of see, I played this in a 3-hour loop here, you can kind of see the swirl that the atmosphere is making around the center of that area of low pressure. So you can kind of picture here. Oh, that's not what I wanted. That is not the jet stream. Okay, what do I want here? How about this? So you can follow the flow of the wind here around that area of low pressure, drawing moisture right off the Pacific Ocean, right up into the hills, where just like what we see with our orographic rain showers in the Sierra, we're just getting those terrain-driven showers focused in the coastal hills this time around. So those will kind of fizzle out tonight, and more of them will pop up again tomorrow afternoon. That's enough of that. Okay, so shower and thunderstorm chances popping up, mostly showers, not much in the way of lightning, but we saw today heavy downpours in some isolated spots, the coastal hills and up into the Sierra, with the focus really being on the coastal hills. We haven't really seen much of that yet this season. Any of our thunderstorms have really been kind of targeting the Sierra, and I think there will be some Wednesday and Thursday, but there's more moisture closer to the coast, so there's more moisture to produce more rain into the coastal hills as well. Let's look at the temperatures here real quick. Because today, for Sacramento anyway, was the first day that we stayed in the 70s in a few months. You got to go back to May 25th to find Sacramento's last day in the 70s. And today our high was 78 degrees. We were in the low 80s in Stockton, Modesto, Yuba City. Only the low 70s in Placerville. Yeah, if you live in the foothills, you know when those clouds sock you in, the temperature goes nowhere. So today was a good day to leave the windows open in the foothills. Sierra too. I mean, we stayed dry and trucky in South Lake Tahoe, a little on the chilly side there with high temperatures in the mid-60s. And I think we're going to see more of that, at least for the next couple of days. It is going to warm up again though. But not too warm. Pardon my scrolling here. Where did I put it? There it is. Okay, so I showed you the close-up view of those showers and thunderstorms on our Futurecast model. Now we can look at kind of the bigger picture. So there's that area of low pressure. You can see the wind swirling around it, driving all that moisture inland. That low is pretty much right overhead tomorrow, which is why we see more thunderstorm chances, more shower chances in the coastal hills and into the Sierra. I don't think we see anything in the valley. It's going to look like rain in the valley. We're going to see a lot of clouds again, but I think our showers are really going to be confined to the mountains. Thursday, the low starts to move onwards, so the coastal hills catching a little bit of a break. Thunderstorm chances will be focused over the mountains. If you have outdoor plans around Tahoe, Lake Almanor, Quincy, Mono County area, I know the smoke has been an issue in Mono County, but watch out for a couple of pop-up thunderstorms in the afternoon as well. Should be quieting down by the time we get to Friday. Some models are showing maybe a little something that pops around Truckee or South Lake Tahoe, but we'll see as we get a little bit closer. That low is starting to pull away. Saturday's going to be a really nice day to be outside. Hopefully you got some plans. We'll be back in the upper 80s in the valley, light winds, sunshine, and we'll be back in the mid-70s in the Sierra too with light winds that day. If you can pick one of two weekend days, Saturday's your guarantee in the Sierra. Sunday we'll see. Most recent model runs are bringing another area of low pressure in. This is 10 o'clock Sunday morning, and this is the most vigorous this has looked yet. So by vigorous, I mean this low's a little bit stronger, wind's a little bit stronger, rain a little bit more pronounced. This is for the north coast. This is Sunday morning, so still dry in the mountains, definitely dry in the valley. This is going to skip to the north, but you can see here by Sunday evening, there may be a little something that pops up into the mountains again, but it will be breezy if this holds for the valley on Sunday evening. So for your outdoor plans, Saturday's the day that I don't think anybody's going to find anything to complain about. It's sunny, light winds, comfortable temperatures for this time of the year. Sunday, if this holds up, breezy for the valley, maybe a few clouds. It'll be dry for the valley, rain on the north coast, and maybe a few showers into the Sierra. So kind of a changeable weekend forecast, but that low blows past pretty quickly. And then as we get into early next week, that may be a little bit more of a north breeze, which is common in the fall, but it's one of those things. If you've lived in California for a while, you know the north breeze in the fall brings drier air. The fuels are already dry. It increases the fire risk a little bit. It is too soon to talk about any kind of specifics, but it is looking drier, it is looking warmer next week. We can say that with some certainty. All right, so we talked about the weekend a little bit. Saturday, the better of the 2 days, but for the valley, Saturday and Sunday, overall, okay for being outdoors. Let's check in and see. Paul from Chico asking if it's coming to Chico. There may be a couple of showers that pop up around Chico tomorrow. Again, I think the best shower chances are going to be up in the hills, so maybe just up above Chico. I don't see anything spilling down into the valley and really causing issues. I mean, the focus is really going to be on the west side of the valley where we have the coastal hills over there. Chico, quick shower is possible, but I don't think it's going to be anything too disruptive. Kyle's also asking how long I've been with KCRA. I'm coming up on 4 years, believe it or not. So I've been doing the evening shows for a little over a year. I did weekends for a couple of months early last year. Did a lot of our 9 a.m. and our noon show my first couple of years here, so I've bounced around a little bit. But been here on the evening shift for a little over a year, and looks like this is home now. Happy to be here. All right, so thanks for your questions. That was on the KCRA page. Checking on my page, Laura Jane is watching on my Facebook page, so is Alberto and Jim and Jesse and Susie. If you guys have any questions about the forecast, let me know. We'll hang out here for another few minutes. One other fun thing I was looking at earlier today, and I know it's early, but with the clouds, with the cooler air, thinking about fall, and one of my sort of favorite novelty sites to look at, it's called explorefall.com. They put out foliage reports across the country. So where are the leaves starting to show up? Where are we starting to see the colors turn? And we're still well away from that, of course, in Northern California, still a few weeks away. You have to go over the Eastern Sierra to really see things pop, but there are some areas in the Rockies, some areas in the Cascades and the Olympic Range that are starting to see a little bit of low color. This was just released earlier this morning. Again, explorefall.com, it's a free site. Fun to use, fun to look at. There's a couple of local, some people call them leaf peepers, foliage finders, if you will, that go and explore some of the nooks and crannies in the Eastern Sierra, and we get their emails and we share, okay, go to Monitor Pass now, go to Sonora Pass here, go to this spot, on this weekend, this is starting to look really good. So I like sharing it, it's fun. I like going and seeing the foliage for myself. Takes until, November or so to start to see any leaves really popping out in the valley. So just a fun little nugget there. Starting to look like fall in some areas. As far as what's typical, this is also kind of leaf climatology, if you will, for Northern California, again from the folks at Explore Fall. So anything in this kind of brownish color, which is most of the valley and the foothills, our leaf color typically peaks in the middle of November. If you want to start planning out your road trip and you want to go up to the Sierra, or maybe you live up in the Sierra, you want to know when the crowds are coming through, early to mid-October is when the leaves tend to peak up that way. And if you go all the way down to eastern Fresno County, which, this year I can't imagine anybody will be, the Garnet Fire continues to burn, although firefighters making good progress there. But anyway, that's kind of a little bit of a digression. Higher peaks of Fresno County tend to see peak at the end of this month. So that's coming up quickly. But just a little fun fall foliage, little alliteration. Some fun things to look at there. I guess we can end with the 7-day. Why not? There we go. So this is nice. I don't know about you. I mean, I don't control the weather, but these temperatures, this is a good spot to be at this time of the year. It can certainly be a lot hotter. I think it was this time 3 years ago. We were still in a heat wave at the start of September. It was like 10 days long. It was nasty. But now it's upper 70s to low 80s for a couple days. It is going to get warmer this weekend. Upper 80s on Saturday. Sunday, we'll see. I showed you that system that's going to cut through to the north. That may kick up the breeze a little bit on Sunday. May kick up a few showers at the coast and over the Sierra, but the valley is likely going to stay dry. And then early next week, warming up again. All right, I'll take a quick question from Alberto on my Facebook page. How many models do I use and which ones? That's a really good question. The answer is it all depends on the situation. Hang on, let me actually put myself back on camera here. So which models do I use and how many? I probably have, a solid core of 3 or 4 different types of models that I'll look at. Some of them do big picture stuff, some of them really focus on the next 24 hours. So on a day like today where we're looking at thunderstorms, I'll use, what's called the HRRR model, high resolution rapid refresh. Tends to do okay with those pop-up type thunderstorms. Our in-house model called the GRAF, G-R-A-F, that's what I show you on TV every day, also kind of a higher resolution model. Tend to use the American model for big picture stuff, building out the 7-day, looking beyond big areas of high and low pressure. We're going to see big heat, big storms, use that to sniff out those kinds of things. The GFS is what we tend to lean on here. I will use the European model on occasion, just to kind of, if we're looking at possibly a big weather setup, a big storm in the winter or a big heat wave in the summer, I'll look to see what the European is saying. If it's something completely different, I may back off on my thinking a little bit. But European model, at least lately, not doing as well here on the West Coast compared to the American model. So I tend to look at that. All models have their different strengths. None of them get the forecast perfect. That's why they're just tools. So we use them kind of as guidance, and then it's our job to, of course, interpret all the data and give you something useful. Because numbers and a bunch of data doesn't mean all that much to most people. So that was a really good question. Thank you, Alberto. I appreciate that. All right, Michelle is asking about Newman. Michelle, I'll answer your question really quickly, and then I gotta go. So I'm just calling something up here. All right, so Newman, right along I-5 in Stanislaus County. I'm still getting my geography together. All right, so this question is from Michelle in Newman. How's it looking for Newman on the west side? I don't think you see any rain tomorrow in your area. I think it's going to be cloudy. That's going to keep temperatures low, upper 70s, pretty comfortable. But through this week, temperatures will rise. By the end of this week, it's back to the sunshine for Newman and for the rest of the valley too. Temperatures probably bumping back up into the mid to upper 80s. A little bit of that onshore breeze kicking in every day. You're kind of tucked into one of those spots that does get a little bit breezy, but yeah, kind of a fall-like feel for the entire valley. The rain showers will be staying up into the coastal hills, so I think Newman, you don't have to worry about the rain there, Michelle. Vicki is checking in from Oakdale. Vicki, thanks for checking in. All right, I gotta wrap this up because I got couple of things I need to take care of before we go on My 58 at 10 o'clock. If you want to see the forecast again, join me then over on My 58. Of course, we'll be on KCRA at 11 with the full 7-day. And of course, you can check the forecast anytime at kcra.com as well. But thanks for joining me. Plan on doing another one of these live chats Thursday evening, this time right around 8:15. All right, have a good night, everybody.